So welcome back guys, this is Madhav PVL and today we are going to see about the scenarios to allocate a buffer for a disk block. So basically in the previous videos we had just discussed about this cache memory, right? So cache memory is a pool of memories. We can just say like there will be in something like an hash queues or whatever it may be. There will be like some pages or whatever it may be. So the buffer for a disk block, scenarios to allocate a buffer for a disk block. From the disk block we will just take up the most recently used data and we will just put it in that particular cache memory for faster recognition. So we will just use those things, right? So we had just discussed all those stuff in our previous videos. Now I'm going to just discuss about the scenarios to allocate a buffer for a disk block. So now first scenario is block is in the hash queue, not busy, choose that buffer, searching for a block 4. So block is in the hash queue, not busy, choose that buffer. So I will just show it here. So here if we just see the scenario 1, so search for the block 4. The block 4 is already present in this particular thing, right? So block 4 is already present in this particular block number 0. In this here we can just see this block 4. So here this is nothing but finding up the block directly without any other sources. So this is all about the first scenario. Block is in a hash queue, not busy, choose that buffer. So we will just choose that buffer and we will just work on it. And then scenario 2, block not in the hash queue and exist in the free buffer, choose one buffer in front of the free list. So now let us just get into the second one. So block scenario 2. So here we are just checking for this 18, block 18. So block 18 is not present, block 17 is present, but block 18 is not present, right? So if the block 18 is not present, we need to just consider one of the block which is in front of this particular free list. So free list is having its front block as 3. So we will just use this 3 as our 18. So here we can just remove this 3 and we can just use it for the purpose of 18. 18 mod 4 is something 2, I think so. Yeah, so 2. 18 mod 4 is 2. So 3 will be removed and that will be placed in the place of 2. So here it is, use it like that. The scenario 2 is nothing but if that particular block is not available or not found, then we can just take up the block which is nearer to this free list header. So the block can be taken which is near to the free list header and we can just use it for the purpose of the block which we are just searching for. So that is the scenario 2. And then scenario 3 is block not in the hash queue and there exists delay write buffer in front of free list. Write delayed buffer and choose next. So here if we just get into this scenario 3, so here we are just checking for 18. So 18 is not present in this particular blocks, right? So if 18 is not present, then we will just check for the buffer which is nearer to the free list. So nearer to the free list, third block is present, but third block is a delay. So we will just check for the next block next of the third block, that is 5. 5 is also in delay. So again we will just check for the next one, that is 4. So we will just use the 4 as our 18. So we will just use the 4 as our 18 and we will just remove the 4 from there and we will just keep it here in this particular hash queue. So here we can just see we will just remove that and we will just keep it here. So delay in the sense this order will be fixed by this particular operating system. So the order will be fixed by this operating system. So we need to just follow that particular order and search for a particular buffer which is not having delay. So we need to just check for that particular buffer which is not having delay and we can just exchange or we can just interchange the block with that particular number and we can just use it. So 18 can be used in the block of 4 and we can just place it in the row number 2, block 2. Here we can just place it. So that is scenario 3. And then fourth scenario is block not in the hash queue and no free buffer, wait until any buffer gets free. So here we can just see like the free list is just locating itself, that tells us like there is no free block in this particular hash queue. This full hash queue is not at all having any particular empty free list. So then the 18th block need to wait for some time to just check for one particular block to get free, and then we can just allocate that particular block. So until then it need to just maintain, it need to just sleep for some time. So that is about the fourth scenario. And the fifth scenario is block is in the hash queue but busy, wait until the block get unusable and work on it. So again, if we just get into this final one, so here if we are just checking for the block 99, block 99 is busy. So here the path is decided by the operating system from 428, 28 to 97, 97 to 10, 10 to 99. So here we can just see this 99 is busy. So here this particular block need to just wait for some particular time, and after the 99 blocks get unlocked, then we can just work on that particular block. So if we are just aware of these 5 scenarios, then we can just write the Getblk algorithm very easily. So here we can just see buffer can be used, that is a very basic condition, and then now the while loop starts. So the while buffer not found, so if the buffer is not found, if block is in the queue, if you are just searching for that particular block, block in the sense buffer mod block size. So block size is 4 here, because here these are having only 4 headers, right? So block number divided by 4 will have some reminder, right? So that will be the index of that particular buffer. So here we can just say, like, if block is in the queue, if block is busy, so if block is busy, then sleep until the block gets free. That is the scenario 5. Here we can just see, if the block in the hash queue busy, wait until it's unusable and work on it, and then sleep until the block gets free. So mark buffer as a busy, remove buffer from the free list, return buffer. So if if the buffer is found, so if the buffer is found, if the block is found, that is scenario 1. So directly we can just use that particular buffer in that hash queue, and we need to just mark it as buffer is busy, remove buffer from the free list. That in the sense we are just removing it from this particular free list, and we are just using it and placing it somewhere else wherever it is required. So that is scenario 1. Else, if there are no buffers on the free list, so if there are no buffers in the sense scenario 4, so no buffer is free, free list is just locating itself. So if there are no buffers on the free list, sleep until any buffer becomes free, scenario 4. So we need to just sleep until any buffer becomes free, that is the scenario 4. And then the next one, remove buffer from the free list if buffer marked for the delay write. So delay, here we are just discussed, if we are just searching for this block 18, if the block 18 is delayed, then we need to just search for the next block, and next block, if we just find something which is free, then we can just use that particular block. So that is about this third scenario, if buffer marked for delayed write, asynchronous write buffer to the disk, scenario 3. Remove buffer from the old hash queue, put buffer onto the new hash queue, return buffer, scenario 2. That is nothing but we can just if we just consider the some block which is not in that particular list, scenario 2 in the sense if it 18 is not in the list, right? So if 18 is not in the list, then we need to just consider the buffer which is nearer to the free list header. So nearer to the free list header in the sense the third block. So we will just consider this third block, and we will just interchange with the block 18, and we will just place it in this row number 2. So that is all about this 5 scenarios, and then Getblk. And now this brelse, so this is an algorithm which will work on this what we can just say, giving buffers a particular detail. So whether the buffer need to wake up or whether the buffer need to sleep. So we will just check one by one. Wake up all the processes, event waiting for any buffer, event waiting for any buffer. This is the first scenario. And then wake up all procs waiting for this particular buffer. So the second condition is waiting for this particular buffer. Raise processor execution level to block interrupts. So if we need to just work on this particular buffer, we shouldn't get any particular interrupts. So we need to just block the interrupts, and we need to just work on this particular buffer without involving into the interrupts. If buffer contents valid and buffer not old, then enqueue buffer at the end of the list, and the end of the list is nothing but in the previous videos we had discussed about, they will be they are just like some circular loop, right? So end of the list, the buffer will be just attached there if the whole contents are valid and the buffer is not old. Hence enqueue buffer at the beginning of the list. The beginning of the list is nothing but which is free. So beginning of the list, free list header 3, which is free. So if it is at the beginning of the list, then it is free, which can be used by some other buffer. So lower process execution level to allow interrupts, unlock buffer. So after this allocation of a buffer is completed, then we will just lower the process execution level to allow interrupts again, and we will just unlock the buffer. So this is all about the BRELSC algorithm, and this is about Getblk, and these are the 5 scenarios to allocate a buffer for a particular disk block. So thank you for watching.